Chapter 1. Welcome to the Walls. As the heavy iron gates creak open, the oppressive atmosphere of the maximum security prison envelops you. Concrete walls rise like sentinels against the desolate landscape, keeping the world at bay. Inside, the air is thick with the echoes of desperation and resilience, where the faint sounds of clanging cell doors reverberate through narrow hallways. This audio documentary, Voices Behind the Walls, invites you to bear witness to the lives of those confined within these walls, each with a story etched in their diaries, a testament to the human spirit's indomitable will. Here, amid harsh realities and stripped identities, hopes flicker like candles against the darkness. As we embark on this journey together, you will hear the authentic voices of inmates, sharing their struggles, aspirations, and the profound connections that form in the unlikeliest of places. Welcome to their world, a realm where redemption and transformation intertwine amidst the starkness of confinement. Chapter 2. A Glimpse of Freedom. As the sun sets behind the looming walls of the prison, Alex Ace Rodriguez takes a deep breath, his diary open before him. With ink-stained fingers, he writes of a life once filled with laughter and family gatherings, now overshadowed by regret. The crime of passion that landed him here haunts his thoughts. He vividly recalls the impulsive decisions that changed everything. Every day feels like an eternity, he scribbles, the weight of isolation pressing heavily on his chest. Yet within these walls, Ace seeks solace in poetry, his words a lifeline that reaches beyond the concrete barriers. In the dim light of his cell, he pours his heart onto the pages, revealing a glimpse of hope amid despair. His longing for redemption is palpable as he dreams of reconnecting with his estranged family, believing that one day he might find a way back to the light. Chapter 3. Rising from the Ashes. Nina Knight Johnson's first moments in prison felt like walking into a living nightmare. Her diary entry, penned on a frayed scrap of paper, captures the cacophony of sounds, the clang of heavy doors, the distant shouts, and the shuffle of several pairs of weary feet echoing through the hall. "I thought I was tough," she writes, reflecting on the bravado that had once shielded her from vulnerability. Now, standing in the stark fluorescent light, surrounded by cold cement walls, she realizes the fragility that lies beneath her tough exterior. As she navigates the complexities of being an inmate, her mind races with memories of her old life. The fear of loneliness looms large, but buried within is a flicker of hope. Knight resolves to rewrite her story, finding strength in unexpected places. In her diary, she vows to mentor the younger women around her, believing that together they can rise from the ashes of their pasts. Chapter 4. Lost and Found. David Doc Williams remembers the man he used to be, a respected doctor, a healer dedicated to saving lives. Now sitting on the cold, hard bench of his prison cell, he grapples with the aftermath of addiction that shattered his world. In his latest diary entry, he recalls the moment his life spiraled out of control, the prescription pad misused, the desperate need for escape from a reality he could no longer bear. "As I write this," Doc muses, "I can still hear the laughter of patients, the gratitude in their eyes. I wanted to be their rock, but I crumbled before their very eyes, addicted to something that promised relief but delivered ruin." With each word, he maps his journey through despair, illuminating the struggle for clarity and redemption. As he helps fellow inmates with medical issues, Doc begins to rediscover his purpose, a flicker of hope residing amidst the shadows of his past. Chapter 5. Leadership in Darkness. As the heavy steel doors clanged shut, Marcus the General Green surveyed the concrete landscape of the maximum security prison. His diary, worn and tattered, was a testament to his journey, a path forged through the fires of gang life and the cold reality of incarceration. In today's entry, he poured his thoughts onto the pages, reflecting on the delicate balance of respect and fear that dictated the prison's hierarchy. He wrote about navigating conflicts with rival inmates, the weight of his role as a leader on his shoulders. It wasn't merely about power, it was about compassion amidst chaos. He expressed a longing for change, envisioning a united community built on understanding rather than violence. Marcus acknowledged the lessons learned from his past, mistakes that would shape his future. As the sun set behind the prison walls, he felt a flicker of hope, spurred on by the promise of a better tomorrow for himself and those he led. Chapter 6. Echoes of Regret. Ace sat on the cold, hard floor of his cell, the dim light casting shadows that seemed to echo his despair. In his diary he penned his innermost thoughts, grappling with the guilt that consumed him. "Sometimes I close my eyes and see her face," he wrote, his hands trembling as he remembered the moment that shattered his life. The crime, a passionate reaction to a betrayal, felt like a distant memory, yet the sharp sting of regret remained vivid. "I killed a part of myself that night," he confessed, mourning not just the loss of a life, but the rift it created between him and his family. His words flowed like a silent plea for forgiveness, both from the universe and his estranged loved ones. "I want to be more than the boy who made a terrible mistake. I want to be a man who learns from it." Chapter 7. Strength Through Adversity. Nina Knight Johnson inhaled deeply, the heavy air of the prison gym mixing with the faint scent of disinfectant. Today marked a new beginning as she sat beneath the flickering fluorescent lights, surrounded by a group of younger inmates eager for guidance. In her diary entry, she captured her raw emotions. "Trust is a fragile thread in this place, but I can't let my past dictate my future. These girls look to me, and I need to show them strength." Knight wrote about her initial struggles to connect with the group. Their hardened expressions reflected her once guarded heart. Yet as she shared her own story of survival, their eyes began to soften. "If I can rise from the ashes, so can they," she penned, her determination echoing through every word. In that moment, she realized that mentoring wasn't just about teaching. It was about building a community, a sanctuary forged in shared pain and resilience. Chapter 8. Shadows in the Night. As the lights dimmed in the cell block, David "Doc" Williams took a moment to breathe, the stillness amplifying his thoughts. In his latest diary entry, he faced the darkness that often crept into his mind. "The addiction whispers to me at night," he wrote, "like a ghost of my former self, haunting me with fleeting memories of a life I once knew." He recalled the nights spent in a haze, trading the scalpel for the syringe, at losing the respect of his peers and the love of his family. In the solitude of his cell, Doc grappled with feelings of shame and despair, but amidst the despair, flickers of clarity emerged. "I wish to remember, not just my failures, but the doctor I was. I want to rise again." This realization ignited a spark within him, urging him to rebuild not just his own life, but to help other inmates reclaim theirs as well. Chapter 9. Balance of Power. Marcus sat on the edge of his cot, the dim light casting long shadows across the concrete walls. His latest entry began with the haunting sound of distant shouts echoing through the corridors, a reminder that peace was a fragile illusion in this world. The tension had been escalating with the rival gang, and Marcus felt the responsibility weigh heavily on his shoulders. He knew that respect could be a dangerous currency in here, confused often with fear. "If they think I'm weak, I compromise my place," he wrote, "but if I show too much strength, I become a target." In this environment where power dynamics shifted like the wind, Marcus grappled with how to lead with integrity. He recounted standing between two factions, his heart heavy with the knowledge that violence could break out at any moment. Yet, he held on to a hope, to redirect that energy towards unity, even among the chaos. His vision was clear, a community built on understanding rather than fear. Chapter 10. Moments of Clarity. As the dim light slipped through the small cell window, Ace picked up his pen, the paper eagerly awaiting his thoughts. Today, he poured his heart into a poem, a raw reflection of his journey thus far. "In these four walls I've found my voice," he scribbled, each word resonating with the echoes of his past mistakes. The ink became a lifeline, tethering him to a flicker of hope he thought he'd lost forever. He wrote about the haunting memories of that fateful night, where passion turned to tragedy. Yet amidst the guilt, he felt a surge of clarity, a realization that his talent for poetry could be a beacon for others, a pathway to understanding him beyond his crime. With every stanza, he transformed his pain into purpose, weaving dreams of reconciliation with his family and a renewed sense of self. In that moment, Ace knew he was more than just a prisoner. He was a poet seeking redemption. Chapter 11. Breaking Chains. Nina Knight Johnson sits in the dimly lit therapy room, a circle of younger inmates surrounding her, nervous energy palpable in the air. In her diary, she writes, "Today, I opened my heart to a group of women who, like me, are wrestling with their pasts. Each story echoes in this room, the pain, the fear, the hopes that flicker like fragile candles." As she leads a discussion on addiction, Knight reflects on her own journey. "I once thought weakness was a chain shackling me to my past, but now I see I'm breaking those chains." She shares her own struggles with trust and vulnerability, reminding her peers that they are not alone in their battles. Through laughter and tears, they forge a new understanding of strength, one rooted in connection. "Together," she writes, "we're learning to lift each other, turning our scars into maps of survival." Hope, she realizes, is often born in the most unexpected places. Chapter 12, Healing Hands. As the fluorescent lights flickered overhead, Doc sat in his small cell, the weight of his past heavy on his shoulders. In his diary, he wrote about a day that had changed everything. A fellow inmate, Jake, had collapsed during yard time from a severe asthma attack. Panic surged through the yard as inmates shouted for help, but fear gripped the others, unwilling to act without explicit permission. Doc, battling his own demons, felt a surge of purpose. Rushing to Jake's side, he instinctively took control, his medical training kicking in despite years of neglect. He calmed Jake, guiding him to breathe steadily as he signaled for the guards to call for medical assistance. In that moment of crisis, Doc rediscovered his worth, realizing that even within these walls, he could save a life. His diary reflected a bittersweet triumph where healing became a shared struggle, and connection blossomed amidst despair.
Chapter.
As Marcus sat in the dim light of his cell, he reflected on the journey he had taken as a leader among the inmates. His diary entry began with thoughts of his early days in prison, a time dominated by fear and the struggle for respect. Through the years, he had come to understand that real strength lay not in intimidation, but in compassion and genuine connections with others. He pondered his role as a mentor, recalling the young inmates who looked up to him for guidance. Marcus wrote about the initiatives he had implemented to foster unity, from organizing communal activities to promoting conflict resolution among rival groups. "I want to leave behind more than just a reputation," he penned. "I want to build a community that thrives on hope, forgiveness, and accountability." As he closed his diary, he felt a renewed sense of purpose, eager to create a legacy that would endure beyond the prison walls.